Having a fiery personality and saying what's on your mind can be effective at times. But was it beneficial for Lupe Velez? In this video, we will give you more than one reason to fall in love with this endless beauty, so make sure you keep on watching. But before we're getting into the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below saying, "I subscribed," and we'll do our best to personally reply to your comment. Lupe had an abundant childhood. She was born July 18, 1908 in San Luis Potosi, Mexico. Unlike many actors who were born into a family that struggled to provide, Lupe had a nice and abundant childhood. With her mother being an opera singer and her father being a colonel in the army, Lupe and her 4 siblings were nicely taken care of. They lived in San Luis Potosi and were known to be one of the families with a big house. Wanting a good future for their daughter, her parents sent her to attend Our Lady of the Lake University in Texas to learn how to speak English and dance. In one of her videos, Velez admitted that even though she didn't do the best in university and was lousy at studying, she did love to dance and was rather good at it too. Her father did not approve of her career. When Lupe began her career in Mexican revues, which is a sort of theatrical entertainment, she used her paternal surname Villalobos. However, when her father came back from the war and found out what his daughter wanted to do for a living, he gave her an ultimatum. Either she changes her name so that her family isn't involved in the sort of business, or she stops altogether and picks a different career. Because Lupe had fun doing what she did, she decided to go with her maternal surname Velez. She made her debut in a show led by a vedette, where she sang a song and danced on stage, which caught the eye of stage producers that in 1925 hired her to join the Regis Theater. She had a feisty attitude. Lupe was known for her provocative dancing and singing, which of course made her popular with the audience. And because she stood out, she quickly became one of the biggest stars in Mexico. Performing on stage for more than a year was enough for Velez, after the producers didn't want to give her a raise and decided to join Teatro Principal, where she worked for only 3 months because they couldn't deal with her feisty attitude. They do say that every press is good press, and for Lupe, that couldn't be more true. She was energetic and didn't know when to stop talking, making her get into fights with her fellow performers. Her beginning to make a name for herself, these feuds didn't go unnoticed in the press, which only made her more loved by the audience and even by Mexican poets. The movie that changed everything. In 1926, Velez was introduced to Richard Bennett, a director who was looking for an actress to play a Mexican singer in his play. He offered Lupe the role which would take her to Los Angeles, and even though her plans were to go to Cuba and perform there, she knew that she can't miss the opportunity and decided to follow her dreams to Hollywood. Velez's first big hit was a film called Sailors, Beware, and even though it was a short film, her performance was so impressive that she had an audition for a full-length film just later in the same year. The Gaucho was a huge success, not only making the critics go wild with Lupe's performance, but also landed her a role in another big film in 1928, and gave her the opportunity to sign with director Douglas Fairbanks. Now if that isn't a successful year, we don't know what is. Her career almost ended because of talkies. We all know how it is when they invent something new and we have to get used to it. It happened with smartphones for us, and it happened with talkies for Lupe. When talkies were first introduced and they became a big hit, quickly eradicating the silent films, many actors lost their job because their voice wasn't suitable for the performances anymore. The people Lupe worked for at the time were certain that her accent was going to be too much, and that she will struggle with the transition from being silent to learning lines for the movies. However, Velez quickly shut their mouths with her performance in Tiger Rose in 1929, where she made such an outstanding performance that just that film alone established her career in the talkies. Between the years 1929 and 1932, Lupe appeared in 8 movies, the 2 most known being The Cuban Love Song and Congo. After having such a successful few years, she decided to take a little break and went to New York, where she joined the Broadway musical Hot Cha. Returning to Mexico, Lupe performed on Broadway for 6 years, her last performance being in You Never Know. Just like all those years back, Velez got into a fight with one of her co-workers because she accused her of being unoriginal and impersonating legendary actresses. Lupe was so offended by the accusation during the end of the musical in Connecticut, she punched her co-worker, making the audience gasp. And as you could imagine, the show had to end. Because everybody saw what went down, the event was all over the press the following morning, giving the musical bad reviews. It's safe to say that Lupe lost her job as the performer for the show and decided to return to Mexico and leave the drama in America. With the success she got in the USA, Velez didn't have to work hard to star in the movie La Zadunga, which was such a major hit that she got offered to play in 4 other movies, but declined due to the decision to return to Los Angeles. Her final roles. With her return to the USA, she worked for RKO Pictures, where she landed the role Carmelita Lindsay in The Girl from Mexico. Even though it wasn't an A-list movie, the audience loved it so much that the director decided to make a sequel. Again, the story was so loved that they decided to make 8 movies in total, naming the series Spitfire. It was rare back then for a series to last so long, especially to star a Latina as the main character. With that fact, you can imagine that Lupe was the talk of all critics, and it boosted her career for which she thought was over before the movies came out. However, like with many franchises, the story after so many movies began to get a bit repetitive, and the later films in the series didn't do as well as the first 2. That didn't damage Lupe's career, however, as she landed a role in a romantic comedy that same year the last Spitfire movie was released. The Dreadful Goodbye. At the beginning of 1944, Lupe started dating an Austrian actor, Harold Raymond. Their relationship wasn't the best, but when she found out that she was pregnant with his child, they decided to get married. Despite being engaged, she asked Raymond to leave in December, telling everyone that their engagement was off. On December 14th, Lupe's secretary couldn't wake her up, but found a note written for Raymond, saying that she couldn't go on knowing that her child would be born without having its father, and that she would rather they both pass away than to have the child alone. The note indicated that Velez was of the opinion that Raymond didn't want to do anything with her and the baby, and that she couldn't see another way out. Raymond told the press the day later that she had no idea what Lupe's intentions were, and that he can't understand why she would do such a thing, stating that they were still to get married despite their fight, and that he wouldn't leave her and the baby to be raised alone. Do you think it was a misunderstanding, or that someone wasn't telling the truth? From actress to urban legend. Because of the suspicious circumstances and not knowing who to believe, the coroner decided to investigate her passing away. However, just 2 days later, nothing could be found that could indicate that it was anyone else than Lupe taking her life. Of course, stories like this always spark interest in literature, and many people believed that what happened to Velez wasn't entirely true. There are many books that talk about the circumstances of Lupe's sudden demise, from saying that she was afraid because the baby wasn't really Raymond's, to stating that she had problems with mental health. What do you think truly happened, and who do you believe? Do you think Lupe's note was truthful, or do you think there was something bigger happening behind the scenes? We would love to know in the comments down below, and check out more of our videos for some thrilling entertainment.